Just last 2 weeks, I received this message from one of my clients, and he says, please, can I do mixed farming of tilapia and catfish, where in one pond of catfish, I can add about 100 tilapia to the same pond for a test to see whether they can coexist? That was the question. I simply answered him, no, please. The catfish will eat the tilapia. Catfish are cannibalistic, whereas tilapia are not. But the confusion is that just yesterday, he sent me another message and he said, sir, it will interest you to know that the pond by the gate is now stocked with catfish and tilapia. They are happily doing well and growing together. Someone will be wondering, hey, Abdalis, then you lied. But let's see. In this video, I'm going to give you detailed explanation on what has happened and my best recommendation. Now, a lot of people are wondering why, personally, I don't recommend mixing catfish and tilapia to grow them for profit. I'm not saying they can't work together, but I don't recommend that. And most farmers who are experienced don't recommend that. But many people will be wondering why we don't recommend it. And I don't blame them because logically, they think that, oh, the fish in the wild or the natural water bodies, they are mixed together. All kind of fish are in that natural water bodies, yet they grow together. They are also thinking that all of them are fish. They literally take the same feed, and also some people are mixing them and they are growing. Like my client just stated, why don't I recommend it? And lastly, they think that putting them together helps minimize space. Then within small space, you can harvest both catfish and tilapia. This is logic. Unfortunately, catfish farming or fish farming does not just reward logic, it rewards understanding. So that is why I am recording this video to break everything down practically with my experience for you to see. At the end of the video, I'll give you the best recommendations. First and foremost, let's tackle the issue of having all mixture of fish in natural and wild water bodies. It is happening because in the wild, there's a lot of space for the fish. And that is why if you observe, when we were kids and we were going for fishing at the riverside, anytime we throw the baits at the edge of the water, we usually catch small fish. Sometimes it could be catfish, it could be tilapia or whatever fish, small fish. But when we try to get at the bottom or at the deeper side of the water, the fish that we get, they are quite bigger. Yes. So you see how the nature works. They have a lot of space. And all the fish, they have the places that they are hiding. Now that I am understanding the logic behind why we're catching small fish at the edge of the water bodies, because they find shelter there. Immediately they go into the deeper water body, the bigger fish will eat them, especially catfish. Now, also in the natural water bodies, we don't calculate survival rates. So a lot of them are being eaten or they're being predated by other fish or other predators. But we don't see them, we don't even know because we don't calculate survival rates. But in the fish farming, survival rate is very important because the more fish you lose, the more money you lose. but that is not applicable to the natural water bodies. In the natural water bodies, we don't calculate feed conversion ratio. Why? Because we don't give them feed. But in the fish farming, we calculate feed conversion ratio because we don't want to give them fish feed and they don't eat it and get wasted. Because the more we waste our feed, the more money we lose. All this is happening in the wild. I will not see that. But coming to the farming, where you confine the fish, you keep them in a controlled environment, and you give them feed. You manage them for them to grow. The space there is very limited. Be in tarpaulin pond, concrete pond, plastic pond, whatever type of pond. The space there is very limited. So it is very difficult for other fish to find shelter. Or there's no place for them to hide. There's no hidden place for them. And I don't recommend catfish and tilapia together because the catfish, they are cannibalistic. Even when you stock only catfish, the bigger ones always consume the smaller ones. Talk less of adding tilapia to them. So when that happens, you will notice that the catfish will be eating the tilapia. Now, apart from them eating the tilapia, these two type of fish both have different way of eating or feeding. Tilapia are surface feeders. Catfish are bottom feeders. So how then do you feed them? In that same feeding methodology, catfish eat vigorously. They have high appetite. And when you give them feed, they are rushing for the feed. And in there, it is survival of the fittest. When you give them the fresh feed, the strongest one rush for the feed, eat it, while the weaker ones are hiding. They wait till the active ones are okay before they feed. But tilapia, they are the shy feeders. When you give them feed, they don't react actively. Sometimes they don't even eat it. They wait for you to move away before they eat it. Once they will give you the feed and you are standing there, it's difficult for them to eat. So now, if you now give them feed, it is clear that the catfish will be rushing, eating it, while the tilapia are waiting. And for that matter, the catfish will always get more of the feed and the tilapia get lesser. And that means that the catfish will always be growing faster than the tilapia. And when that happens, it also leads to the cannibalistic behavior that I was telling you. So the catfish will be eating the tilapia again. You are still not convinced. I'll convince you. Now, you will be saying that, oh, but your guy just told you that he mixed catfish and tilapia and they are growing together. But look at the trick here. He further added, they are fingerless, but the tilapia is a little older than the catfish. You see the trick here. So as at the time he stocked them, the tilapia are bigger, the catfish are smaller. Obviously, they can't eat them at that time. But look at what I told him. And I'm telling you the same. I told him, that explains why it is working for now. Since all the fingerlings and the tilapia is slightly older, the risk is low at this stage. Please monitor them closely and ensure consistent feeding. Once the catfish gain size, they can start preying on the tilapia. Obviously, catfish always grow faster than tilapia in a pond. But now they are the same. But the tilapia are a little older, they are bigger. So they are not only able to cannibalize them. But if he is not keeping best feeder schedule, and the catfish grows past the tilapia, or they grow to the same level. Not even that. Even when they become bigger and their teeth is now stronger and they can now eat the tilapia. And he doesn't give them consistent feeding and allow them to become hungry sometimes. They'll use the tilapia as feed. So we can say for now that he is successful in keeping them together. Also, as they are still here now, he doesn't know the survival rates. And that's why I asked him to keep eye on them to see how they grow. Now, when they grow to maturity, you should now observe them. You should now keep count of them. And we see whether the catfish or the tilapia who will be disappearing or who will be getting lost. Obviously, when a fish dies naturally, later it floats on the surface and you can tell. Even when it is eaten but not completely, later you find the remaining parts. But when it is eaten completely, you will not see it. Only later you will count them and you notice that they are not up. So I am giving you that same advice. If you want to test that, please, you can do so. But make sure that the tilapia are older or they are bigger. Make sure that you keep consistent feeding. That way, if the catfish does become hungry, do not use the tilapia for feed. But let's also come to look at that. There are times we intentionally give tilapia, especially the fry or the fingerlings, to the catfish with the intention of using them as feed. For instance, I visited a farm at West Hill, at West Hill, that is Accra. It was having both catfish and tilapia, obviously not the same pond. And catfish, tilapia, they breathe in the water. And it all boils down to the fact that they don't cannibalize. Tilapia, catfish today lay the eggs there, but the others they'll eat it. It will not even be there to hatch. So now, when we visited, what he was doing is that anytime the tilapia hatch the small fish, the fingerlings, and he's not interested in raising them, he will use that, he will collect that small fish and give it to the catfish to consume. And I witnessed it myself. And look, he will harvest thousands of them and put it in the catfish. And even that those periods or those days, they are feeding of the commercial fish will produce. Even if you then give them that, they don't eat much. And they will feed on the tilapia. They'll feed on them until they finish all of them in the pot. They don't actually eat all of them at the same time. It's gradually until they finish them. That's what I'm telling you. So you can keep them there with the intention of the catfish using them as feed. That is also possible. And also, many a times, people also just keep it like my client is doing to see how best they can grow together. But you must keep in mind that they are likely to vanish gradually. And to control that, make sure you keep consistent feeding. And when the catfish grow bigger and you notice the disappearance of the tilapia, then you can separate them. You can test and confirm. But my ideal recommendation is that if you want or if your goal is to get profit out of your fish farming, then keep catfish separated from tilapia. As simple as that. Raise each of them separately and sell them. But if you want to keep them together, you're going to have headache. I'm not saying it is not possible. It is possible, but it is not ideal. If you have found value in this video, my name is Abdulaziz. It's a all in this channel they share free functions based on experience and research. So if you have not subscribed to this channel, please do so. And if you are a complete beginner and you want to learn how to start your fish farm, I have a complete free course for you, which is very detailed and it teaches you almost everything you need to know to start your fish farm from beginning to finish. Check it out in the end screen or check it out in the description. Watch that video. And lastly, we are giving you promotion for this 2026 Ramadan. If you want to set up your farm and you want to enjoy our discount, please contact us. We'll give you discount and we'll install the farm for you. Thank you so much for watching. See you in my next video. Bye bye.